Rolling. Sound.
1, 2, 3.
Sorry, my stomach will growl throughout this interview if you hear it because I'm just starving for a song. But
Can I get you some cookies?
No, not at all. I cannot eat. But
we have some rolled oats too.
No.
And we should keep this.
You must keep it. You must keep it.
Were there ever periods where you weren't this busy, and what was that like?
4 years ago, I did a small speech at the Kennedy Center, and then I was not busy for a very long time.
But this chase for your tickets is a real thing.
For now, Namrata, around the corner there'll come a point.
It's like fastest fingers first.
3 years of tickets selling really fast. I have had 15 years of tickets not selling. I worked at CNBC when I was 26 years old. I would do 2.5 minutes of jokes. I would do comedy about the 4 richest people in India and the Prime Minister of India on the mainstream news at 9 p.m. And everyone was okay. Sometimes we would get calls from this rich person's office saying, you haven't made fun of us enough. You're talking about the other guy too much. Take a few shots at us.
Yeah.
It is very easy to just write stand-up about generic stuff. I specifically write love letters to my country.
Yeah, you do.
I'm hoping someday I'll write the show where they'll tell me I'm Indian enough at the end of that show.
When do you hope your film will release?
Almost there. It's the last 10 meters of the race to get it ready. I fell in love with directing.
Yeah.
I co-directed this one, and Kavi and I have a great creative partner. We met as background extras on Love Aajkal.
One day you're a background dancer, another day you're winning an Emmy and making a film with Aamir Khan.
Yeah.
This essentially is Veer Das for all of us.
Well, I mean, the background extra might come soon also, and then the Emmy will be on sale on OLX. Sometimes I think about selling it. I don't even know how much you could fetch for an Emmy. I'm not sure.
Kuche 7 presents the Namrata Zakaria Show in partnership with ZILO, fashion delivery in 60 minutes, powered by View Televisions.
You may love him or you may loathe him, depending on which side of the political fence you're at. But there's no denying you'll be laughing with him, out loud and so hard you may even want to shed a tear. I have with me today a very special guest. He's an actor, he's a budding filmmaker, he's a brand new author, but most importantly, he is India's first stand-up comedian. Please join me in welcoming the one and only, the riotous Veer Das.
Hello, thank you for having me. It is always awkward to have somebody talk about you when you're 3 feet away from them. And for me, talk about me in general is awkward. So yeah.
Can I first say yay? I'm so happy to have you up close.
This took a while, no?
This took a while.
I'm sorry it took a while.
I'm so happy to be sitting this close to you because the few times that we've met, it's always been a room of 100 people. You're on stage and I'm laughing till I'm crying.
You're one of the people who does it right in that you come for the trial show.
Because I hound your team and I beg for 1 ticket for the trial show, yes.
But the trial show is better, no? Because the material's not set. I get to improv. Small group of people. You get to sit in the silence. I get to think out loud on stage because I'm not under pressure to perform. It's where you write the show.
It's unedited.
Yeah, there's a bunch of shit I will never say in the in a stadium or a theater that I will say in the trial show. Yeah.
So Veer, there's a new show in New York.
Yes.
You're touring India with your show.
2 separate shows.
Yeah. There's a book out.
Yeah.
There's a film coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, how many Veers are there in your head and how are you coping in all these different directions?
I'm not coping well, to be honest with you. I'm underslept and I'm underfed and I'm like today is a podcast with you, a 3.5-hour dance rehearsal, a post-production just kind of check-in with Aamir on the film. At 8 p.m. the US will wake up and I'll go and do the audio recording for my book for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I'll be done by about 11 and then I'll see my wife and my dog. So it's but I've waited a very long time to be this exhausted. Do you know what I mean?
It's nice to be busy.
It's very nice to be busy. It's very nice to have work, of course, but also work that was of my generation, that I generated. You know, like I've spent a lot of time working on other people's ideas, and finally, 15 years in, I get to work on things that were born in my brain. I waited a long time for this.
Were there ever periods where you weren't this busy, and what was that like?
4 years ago, I did a small speech at the Kennedy Center, and then I was not busy for a very long time. I was just in Goa eating copious amounts of chocolate and carbs, and phone did not ring for a good 10 months. I want to say the phone didn't ring, you know. And that's not even the first time that's happened. That was controversy, but I think the career's ended at least 3 times. And then I've had to kind of pivot and reinvent a little bit. The first innings in Bollywood was very good.
Yeah.
And then it turned into something that wasn't very good. And then I really had to make a hard pivot towards stand-up and say, okay, I think I have to put that on the back burner for a little bit, acting.
Yeah. But there's great heroism in that, no? To be able to keep coming back, to be able to sort of, reinvent constantly and come back on tops with whatever you pick, tic-tac-toe.
I wish it seemed as calculated as that. I think it's very much just stumbling into another thing. There are flags that you can look for. You know, when someone who has always taken your call is no longer taking your call, and they are part of a particular industry, you can kind of go. Like, I remember a conversation with my management where they were very honest with me, and they were like, I don't think you're going to get an acting job for a while. And I was like, all right, I'll do something else. When the Kennedy Center thing happened, there was a lovely conversation with a manager who was like, you know, you have a social media following, but no one wants to associate with you.
Oh my God.
So there are mid-level brands that don't normally get access to someone like you. So if you want, you can be like a low-level influencer. So I went from actor to comedian to lower-level influencer. But it's nice to have people around you that are kind of straight about that stuff. And then you go through like 3 weeks of, can I cuss on this thing?
No.
No? Okay. So 3 weeks of going, what the hell do I do? I just don't entertain a lot of self-pity. So I go. And my wife doesn't either. So
That's
nice.
great.
Yeah.
I want to ask you all about Happy Patel Khatarnak Jasoos.
Khatarnak Jasoos,
All I know is that it's being produced by Aamir Khan Productions.
Yes.
But when you shoot, who's in it, what's the story, everything you can tell me.
Everything I can tell you is this: it's shot.
Oh.
It's edited. I shoot a song for it in a few days. I don't know when it'll be out.
Yeah.
But it's a film that I got to co-direct. It's a spy comedy.
Nice.
So I'm a big fan of Johnny English.
Yeah.
And like Austin Powers.
Yeah.
And so I wrote this film 12 years ago. And when I wrote it, there was no Indian spy universe only. I narrated to people and they'd be like, but Indian spy, kaise, etc., etc. And now Tiger, Pathan, you know, everything got born.
And you're competing with Hrithik and Shah Rukh.
No, it has to exist for it to be parody.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right, so 3 years ago I called Aamir sir and I was like, sir, I have a movie. The nice thing about him is he's kind of this bastion of accessibility.
Really?
He really is. You know, his universe is very small, and if you have a relationship with him, which I did, which was 15 years ago. Delhi Belly was 2012, so 13 years ago. I called him up after 13 years and said, sir, I have a movie, and if you don't produce it, I don't think anyone will. And he said, no pressure. Come and narrate it to me, and gave me a slot to narrate to him in 72 hours.
Oh, wow.
And 6 narrations later and a test shoot later, he greenlit the movie. But he's the kind of guy who you can call up or you can message and you'll get a call back in less than a day. Which a star at that level it's a very rare thing.
Yeah.
I've worked with every top level star. I've never seen anyone do it that way. You know.
What is he like as a producer? Is he superbly hands-on? How involved is he?
He's very hands-on in prep. So he's very hands-on in the scripting stage. He's very hands-on in what is story. He's obsessed with story, which really benefits your writing as well. So I think we went through like 4 rewrites in a quick period of time. So, but I want her arc to be stronger. I want these things to be tied up, etc., etc. And even for a kind of a mindless, mad comedy that we have made. And then production design a little bit because he wanted it to look right. He does a smart thing, which is he'll give you a little bit of money and he'll be like, go out and shoot 4 scenes. And shoot it on a cell phone. Shoot it, just bare bones, but I just want to see how you move the camera, how you use an actor, etc., etc. So we did that, and we obsessed over it because it was 12 minutes that we were going to show him. And you're expecting like a long discussion, at the end of it, saying, but this, that, etc., etc. We watched it in his preview theater, and he was like, all right, go on flow.
Really?
Yeah. And then we didn't see him until the edit. So he'll leave you alone until the edit.
And you're also telling me there's no cameo.
I am telling you that you will have to see the edit.
Thank you. I got my answer, and that's fantastic news. Is this film a one-off, or do you have more stories to tell?
I have more stories to tell. During COVID, I had a lot of free time. And I also, for the last 2-3 years, I've been kind of feeling like with stand-up, there's things to do. There isn't much left to do outside of scaring myself.
What do you mean?
In terms of writing material that truly terrifies me. So I will hopefully be on Broadway and the West End. That's very scary to me. I could go and book a venue in New York and do a pretty large run on my own. But to, try and work with Tony Award winners or Olivier Award winners and have them, start at the bottom really in Broadway, that's terrifying. So then the opportunity cost of giving up all that money in New York and really starting at the bottom is scary. The show you saw, a trial show of is Sounds of India. So it's not like a stand-up, stand-up show is like, oh, my wife, the gym. This is this massive pan-India tribute.
Yeah.
It's hard to write. So stand-up, those are the goals.
Yeah.
But for the last 3 years, I've really just felt like, man, I can act. And I can speak Hindi and not enough people know this. And I know I tried and Kismet had other ideas, but I've built this sizable audience in the meanwhile. And maybe they'll come see a movie if it represents the kind of thought that I represent. So I wrote 4 films. And
4?
Yeah, I wrote 4 films.
That's fabulous.
And this is the first one. And hopefully I'll get to make all 4. They're not all comedies. And I think there's a drama in me. I think there's a horror movie in me. And,
Yeah, I'm very excited to meet all these ways. But Sounds of India, you've started touring.
Yes, yeah.
What is that like? What is touring in India like, taking this amazing show? I've watched it, of course, and it's funny. But I especially love that how you marry writing with like audio.
Yeah.
And I find that really innovative. So it really is all about the sounds you hear in India. How did you come up with this idea?
I live right on St. Paul's Road. So there is, this is my bedroom window and then this is St. Paul's Road. So I hear every noise from,
Drilling.
From drilling to the coil in the morning, to the guy selling something, to 2 watchmen fighting, to everything. And I think that's perhaps the only thing that we would agree on across the political spectrum. I certainly have my own ideas of what India is, and I think 1.5 billion people have 1.5 billion ideas of what India is to them. But if there's a few statements that you could make that all of us, irrespective of who we worship or vote for or both, would agree on, if you said India is growing, we'd say India is growing.
Yeah.
If you said India is rich, we'd say India is rich. If you said India is loud, everybody would agree.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a knock. I don't think that's an insult. I think there's a symphony to it all, to the madness. So I think that's where the show came from. And I've written 2 shows about India. And Both have gotten me into significant amounts of news and trouble and all of that stuff. I wanted to write an inclusive show. That's also a challenge for me. You've seen the show, so you know it represents who I am.
Yeah.
You know it represents my idea of democracy or India, etc. But I wanted a show where a left-winger and a right-winger could sit in the same audience and laugh at the same time. Fundamentally disagree with me and each other perhaps, but laugh.
That's right. There's a great universality to it.
Yeah.
And all the messaging is quite absolute in that it's undeniable to whichever side of the fence you're at.
And we talk about both sides equally.
That's right.
So, there's pot shots at both equally. So, yeah.
But this chase for your tickets is a real thing.
For now, Namrata, around the corner there'll come a point.
It's like fastest fingers first.
Yeah, but
and you're, I mean, of course, I follow you, so I see you always posting the comments and the criticism and like, how do we get tickets?
Yeah.
And what is that like? How does that feel?
I don't think about it. It wasn't there 3 years ago, and it probably won't be there 3 years from now. It's not something I'm even entertaining the idea of getting used to. I've had, touch wood, 3 years of tickets selling really fast. I have had 15 years of tickets not selling fast enough. So I'm very much used to the first, and I'm okay to be used to the first. This is very dangerous to get used to.
Yeah, but I don't think you're going anywhere for a very long time. Tell me stories about touring in India. You've done this before. Tell me stories of outside the cities, outside the big cities.
It's transient. So you're in a city for 24 to 48 hours. You land, you're like, okay, what do I eat?
Yeah.
The nice thing about touring is if I'm not combining it with shooting, then I can eat a lot. This tour won't be that, but usually that's where I kind of let myself go a little bit. Who's the local artist who's coming? Who's the local singer-songwriter? Who's the local designer who I'm wearing? Because we try and find local people to champion. And you kind of catch a flavor of who they are, and then you're off.
But is the audience different across India, or
very similar?
Yeah.
Indore is no different from Bengaluru because they both have smartphones. They're both watching YouTube and Netflix.
Yeah.
I can't go to Indore.
What do you mean?
I'm banned in Madhya Pradesh, unfortunately.
That can't exist. You know that, right?
I don't know. During the Two Indias controversy, a minister was like, he can't come here. So I would give anything to play Bhopal, anything to... You've seen my show. It's a celebration of India. I think it's joy. I'd love to bring it to Madhya Pradesh. I have been told that I cannot.
Did you check with the airlines or anything?
I can fly to Madhya Pradesh, so I can visit, but I don't know if they'll let me perform. It's a 5-year-old ban, so I don't know what the expiry date is. 6 years now, the expiry date on those things is, but I'm hoping it's expired and they'll have me.
Well, if you go, I'm going to come with you because I'd love to write about that. So, Hey Stranger, Lincoln Center Theatre. You've been working on that along with this, with the show in India. Tell me about that.
Hey Stranger is a show that's headed to hopefully Broadway in the West End. It'll debut at the Lincoln Center. I think there's 20 shows or something like that we're doing. It is a show that's designed for Broadway.
Really?
What I like about Broadway is it's really a test of how are you really a crossover? Does your comedy really cross continents? Think about who comes to a Broadway show or a West End show. Norway, Iowa, Mumbai, Japan, everybody's in New York for the weekend and they're like, let's go see a show. In London, let's go see a show. So when you go and see Hamilton, or when you go and see Wicked, or when you go and see, Mike Birbiglia on Broadway, or George Clooney on Broadway, that means that artist or that piece of content is truly universal. So if you're going to run the test of can Indian comedy truly cross over, I think that's where you do it, because that's where the world meets. Usually when I play New York or when I play London, it's your people, right? So if I play the Hammersmith Apollo, or if I play, the Beacon, 50% New Yorkers, 50% Americans, or 50% Indians, or maybe 60-40 in favor of the NRI audience. But on Broadway, you're doing a month, 2 months. So anybody can pop in, you know.
So what is your writing, how is it different?
It has to be much deeper. My director, his name is Moritz. And it's the first time I'm working with a director on a show. He's a 5-time, I think, Tony nominee.
That's fantastic.
You know, my producers did, I think, Gyllenhaal on Broadway, have maybe Clooney as well. So they've been in this, business for a while. And the starting piece of feedback was, show's really funny. Which for a stand-up show is good enough.
Yeah.
But it was their subtle way of saying, funny is down. It's funny.
Yeah.
It needs to be far more. Like, you need to push yourself far more. And it needs to be far deeper and have really strong connective tissue. And so the show is about strangers. You know, I believe that a stranger can impact your life far more than the people that you know. And so it's a tribute to, if you measure a human life, you've probably spent, I would say, 20% to 30% of your life on average with people you don't know, right? I've been doing comedy for 19 years. I've spent 80% of my life with people I don't know. It's a very weird life. So if one was to measure whose life is more worthy, yours would win. But I think there's something beautiful about the stranger that comes to town.
Of course, and strangers showing up for you
is,
it's the worthiest of all, right?
And the most epic, life-changing shit that has ever been said to me has been said by people I do not know, because there's safety. You're never going to see them again. They can be completely honest with you, as opposed to people who are emotionally invested in you. So the show's about strangers.
Is an Indian audience different from an NRI audience or even a mixed race audience?
An Indian audience is different from an NRI audience in that a show for an Indian audience is no context required. So it's pacier. Immediately. The minute I say a leader's name, you know who he is. The minute I say a dish's name, you know who they are, etc., etc. And can be edgier. Having said that, a show for an NRI audience can have a very strong connection because there's a little bit of romance to that show. In that, if you come and see me at Carnegie Hall, NRI audience, then suddenly there's a couple sitting there who hasn't been to India in 5 years because they haven't been able to afford it. And they haven't been in a room of 4,000 Indians for a very long time. So then their expectation is, take me home. I miss home. So there's a romance to that also.
I get it.
You know, so Indian audiences can be edgier and wilder, but NRI audiences also have a strong love, which is nice.
Where do you think you are braver in your writing?
As in Indian versus NRI?
What do you enjoy writing? Let me put it that way, because everything's now recorded and
I enjoy writing about India. I like writing about India.
Because it's this love story you've had forever.
I think perhaps we crave what we crave acceptance that is denied to us. I was born in Africa. I was born in Dehradun, but I was raised in Africa from the age of 1 to 9.
Yeah.
So I've spent my whole life with people telling me I'm not Indian enough. I've lived in Mumbai for 20 years. I'm an Indian citizen. I've written 3 shows about India. That's 6 hours of comedy.
It's also made you very famous, these 3 shows especially.
Right?
Yeah.
But it is very easy to just write stand-up about generic stuff. I specifically write love letters to my country.
Yeah, you do.
And it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'm hoping someday I'll write the show where they'll tell me I'm Indian enough at the end of that show. It certainly hasn't happened yet.
there are so many Indias.
Yeah.
And so many centuries
Yeah.
in every India today. So there's room for everyone.
I hope so. But it is the defining creative spine of my career is an exploration of India.
You also have this very special friendship with Netflix. You were the first Indian stand-up
On Netflix.
on Netflix. How did you make that happen?
I was in LA actually, and this is before Netflix had the office in India, etc. And I knew that Sacred Games was kind of being developed around the same time. And I had one show in LA that changed my life. I'd just been signed by an agency, a management agency in LA. And in this comedy club called the Improv in Hollywood, they were like, let's do a showcase show. And we'll invite Netflix, HBO, ABC, CBS, etc., etc. And Netflix showed up and they said, all right, bring him into the office. It was a really good show. I remember Imran and Avantika were in town then. And I remember, it's very sweet, but they had a house that they were renting for that summer. And I did the show and then I went to their house later and they just warmed up some pizza for me and they were like, you have no idea, your life is about to change tomorrow. This show was that good. And it legit did. Netflix offered me a special. And then all the US agents were like, just take whatever they give you, man. It's a Netflix special, etc., etc. And I went in and I was like, no, I want a stadium in Delhi and a club in New York, which is effectively 2 specials.
Yeah.
And they gave me a 2 special deal. So it was nice. And then I think, I'm not sure if I did, but I might have beat Sacred Games to the release.
Oh, really?
So I think if you technically Google it, I might be the first Indian release on Netflix. I might have beat them by about 2 months. No question of scale. I mean, they were Sacred Games, but
why not? And also at that time, they were focusing on India. They wanted to make India their huge market. So well chosen on both counts, Sacred Games as well as you. But you've continued this friendship. I mean, how many? You have 6 shows on right now?
No, 5.
My God, that's saying something, right?
They're great. They're yet to give me a bad note or even a large note. They just kind of like do your thing.
You got them an Emmy.
We got an Emmy together, but
yay!
Some shows are different vibes. Like the Mindful show is sillier.
Yeah.
Right. Landing is a show about patriotism. Veerdas for India is a nostalgia-based show. It's about Parle Ji and Old Monk. It's a Rajma Chawal, comfort food kind of a show. Losing It is an edgy show. So they even allowed that. There's never like this is what worked last time, now do it again.
Yeah.
Because I need to do something completely different each time. So that means with every special, I'm losing audiences and gaining new audiences. And they're very supportive of that too. They're awesome.
How did you find out about the Emmy?
It's a really strange story, but I got nominated for one for Veerdas for India, right? And then the week before the Emmys, the 2 India controversy happened. So I was at the Emmys for Veerdas for India as a nominee for India and then being called a terrorist on the news back home. Very strange dichotomy. And I think it was Nawaz Bhai and me were nominated that year.
Yeah.
And we both didn't get the Emmy. And then I had another special with Netflix.
This is Landing. Yeah.
And then I think there was some shuffles in, OTT people keep shuffling, etc., etc. And the person that greenlit my special moved on from Netflix. And so then there was a question saying,
oh my God,
do we do this? Do we not? Now keep in mind, I have 0 work. Right? I've come back to India after 2 Indias. I've gone to Goa. I've switched my phone off. Nobody is associating with me at all. Very sweet WhatsApp messages. So brave. Love you. Take care, bro. Etc.
And those are important.
Those are important, but basically have a good life. You know what I mean? Enjoy the sunset. But I kept calling my management saying, is the Netflix contract done? Is it done? Is it done? And they kept saying one more week, it's with business affairs, etc., etc. I got a call saying the special was cancelled.
And this is because of the controversy, you think?
No. Just the person had moved on.
Okay.
Right? And so not just me, but 8-9 specials, they were looking in a different direction. So there's a Netflix exec called Tanya Bang. Right? And so I think she was on vacation and I called her up. And I said, very arrogantly, I'm going to write a show that makes people feel beautiful about home. Please, let's do this special. Either you don't do this special and I'll have to find some other place for it. And I threw some platform names that I'd never spoken to in my life. All right. So just pure bravado. I was like, I'll go here, I'll go there.
It's a good hustle.
It's a good hustle. Or Tanya, and it's verbatim. I was like, Tanya, you and me go get nominated for another Emmy together. And
you manifested
I manifested it. And so she was like, all right, give me 2 weeks. And 2 weeks later, she called and she's like, all right, let's do it. But it now needs to happen in 2 months.
Yeah.
It was supposed to happen 5 months later. So then I just buckled down and wrote the show. And then, goddamn it, we got nominated for an Emmy together. I got a call from Tanya just saying, you called it. I cannot believe it. And I was like, I cannot believe it. I was bullshitting completely. But it happened.
Bullshitting works.
Bullshitting works.
But it's also like a kind of a riposte, right? Like a comeback. When you earn this like very unwelcome tough love for India.
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel? Like, was that on your mind at all? Or you were just like itching to get back?
There's no bravado to a comeback. There's no bravado to a cancellation either.
What was your mind space? Like, I'm sure it changed you, but what were your thoughts at that time?
It is a mix of panic, anger, resentment, guilt, and drive. So you're panicking because you're like, how do I support my family? You're angry because you're thinking, this shouldn't have happened. It's just jokes. You're resentful because you lost every opportunity. 17 opportunities overnight. Gone.
Wiped out. And
then you're also a little resentful with the people who are backing off as well. Just saying, come on, have a little bit of courage. You're guilty because you're like, shit, I think I hurt some feelings.
Stepped out also, maybe.
Yeah, and also I think my shows represent joy as opposed to comedy shows. I want you to go home flying on a cloud. And so I felt bad, legitimately, that some people didn't. And then you got drive just saying, I'll show you. Like, look at the jokes I'll turn this into. This mountain of shit, look at what I turn it into. So it's all of those things.
Now that it's past,
yeah,
and it's not coming back, we're manifesting that.
Well, I mean, who the hell knows? Like you can't predict what is going to be the cancelling joke. There's no chance you can predict that.
And now that the Emmys come, I want to ask you, what does freedom of speech mean to you today? What does freedom of expression mean? And especially, we're fresh in the aftermath of the killing of Charlie Kirk, and there's a lot of conversation and doubt about what freedom of speech really means. So are you an absolutist?
I think anybody should have the right to say whatever they want to say. As long as they are willing to entertain a response as loud as their voice. And what I mean by that is, say what you want to say. Respect the audience that responds to it in the way that they do. That response should just be a response and not be followed by any process or action. That's where I draw the line. I think there's a difference between people saying, this joke is unevolved and I don't like this joke, and here's what I'm putting in place to ruin your life. Those are two very, very different things. There's also, I think, a difference between quote-unquote cancel culture and a legitimate targeting of freedom of speech. The way I look at it is, cancel culture is people coming for your ears. I didn't like what you said. Listen to me. And it can be very aggressive and affect your ears. When they target your freedom of speech, they come for your mouth. They don't come for your ears. Then they're like, you will no longer get permissions to do shows. You will lose your job. You will go to jail. You will spend your life in legal paperwork, etc. So those two things are very different to me. But at the essence, I think freedom of speech is to be able to live without a second thought when you're writing, when you're speaking, when you're on a platform.
So Salman Rushdie wrote a long time ago, he said that the freedom of expression without the freedom to offend cannot exist.
Yeah.
And especially now, when we talk about the protection of minorities or even racism, I mean, that line seems to be blurring. Do you think? I'm asking because this is an India conversation and this is a US conversation as well.
Yes, but I think it's more nuanced than that.
Fair enough.
I think the best possible scenario is that whatever response there is to expression forces the artist to evolve.
Right.
Right. Okay. I have yet to apologize for a joke. Right. That does not mean that I don't regret jokes that I've done. Right. The regret of those jokes has never come because someone lashed out at me. I have been more humbled by grace than I have by any FIR or demand for an apology. Grace is edgier than edge. Do you know what I mean? When people are offended by what you said but laugh anyway and express themselves gracefully, you go home sometimes with shame for that joke, saying, man, it should have been better. That writing should have been better. It should have been more evolved. It should have been worthy of the grace that they showed that joke. That's my ideal scenario.
Get it.
You know, but I don't know. Who is satisfied by an apology that they clearly don't mean or that they're doing out of fear?
Well, I would imagine a lot of people, right? Because it gives them that one-uppance.
Does it though?
I mean, it's an ego thing also.
It's an ego thing. You want to see them swallow their ego. You want to, to have your ego uplifted. But I don't think it leads to any evolution. I don't think it leads to anything but fear in that artist's mind. And by the way, I'm not judging any comedian who apologizes for a joke because I know enough of them. And I know that it ate them up inside.
Yeah.
For a very long time to apologize.
Yeah.
Because they have admitted to me that the second they apologized, they wondered if they truly stood for their profession.
And then in some time, you can make a parody out of your tryst with the police, like Aamir Khan has done in The Bads of Bollywood.
Yeah, I mean, sure. If it's all tied up, and all investigations are closed and all of that stuff, I'm sure you can. And that's stand-up. Anything is going to be 10 good minutes.
Yeah.
Grief is going to be 10 good minutes. Illness is going to be 10 good minutes, and FIR is going to be 10 good minutes.
So there's a scene in the film in the show Bads of Bollywood where one character gets arrested and the cop tells him, "We're going to make you famous."
Wow. Yeah, but
no thanks.
yeah. Also, what kind of fame do you want? That too is a slippery slope, right? Fame from controversy, because then you got to keep beating that, flogging that horse to keep getting back into controversy. I don't think controversial attention is short-term currency.
Fair enough.
In my mind. My manager, Reg, really, really gave me good advice. He's like, all right, your content has become controversial. Controversy cannot become your content.
Yeah.
If you're just known for trying to do that, it shortens your lifespan as an artist significantly.
Yeah. You've done over 15 films.
Have I? Yeah.
But you're still better known as a stand-up,
yeah.
Right? And I think that's a wonderful thing.
I mean, I love it. It's my first. Strangely enough, I trained to be an actor first. Like I have a bachelor's in theatre.
Yeah.
So nobody knows. Like, अरे ये तो comedian है. अरे इसको acting नहीं आता है.
But you performed really well on stage too. I mean,
performed. I would say I'm a better comedian than I am an actor. If there's a list of good comedians and there's a list of good actors, I'm on a much longer list as an actor and a much shorter list as a comic. You know.
Tell me about the book, The Outsider.
Oh God, it's such a pain in the ass to write a book.
New York Times has called it among the best comedy memoirs in many years, and I think that's fantastic that you've got this review. But I want to ask you, like, first what it's about, and I think when you write a show and when you write a book, you draw from your life and your personality so much. So what is going to be different?
Well, so I got a call from my agency. They're like, "You won the Emmy. Now write the book." It's like it's a very like American
checklist
comedian thing. And I was like, I'm in the middle of my career. Like I got great stuff to do yet.
Yeah.
I'm not chronicling my career. There's no chance. Call me in 20 years.
Yeah. But how did they convince you?
We had 2 publishing houses that were interested. And I said, if you let me write a memoir about failure, I'll write it. If the entire thing is about being lost and clueless, I'll write it. Because I think that's a larger sentiment, right? Not life of the room, but in the corner of the room, just going, shit, I'm in the room. How did I get here? Should I not say the wrong thing? Are these clothes good enough for this room? Am I supposed to pretend like that isn't Shah Rukh Khan? Am I supposed to pretend like these 8 people doing things to my face and hair and this chiffon shirt and these fans in my, pointed at my body are normal? Am I supposed to pretend like, these 12,000 people in this arena kind of stomping their feet is every day? This is insane. It's absolutely insane. And it fills me with fear. And it fills me with questions. I think that's the more common feeling. So it's not a chronicle of success at all. So I did this whole thing, and then the publisher was like, all right. And I was like, shit, now I have to write a book. And it's tremendously hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
But I can imagine, and I'm saying this as somebody who's watched your career for at least 15 years or more. I mean, there's great heroism in what you do because you've had a period of waiting.
Yeah.
And then you've had this very unwelcome controversy. And then you come back with a film with Aamir Khan.
Yeah.
You come back with an Emmy. You've got Netflix eating out of your hand.
Well, I mean...
Yes. And... I mean, this is very inspiring, right? This is very inspiring to anybody in any profession because, when you're down and out, the only way is to keep rising.
I think if you look at it as an Instagram reel, it's a great Instagram reel, right? Oh, look, he came back, right? But
that's the idea of poetry today, right? Poetic justice on Instagram.
But the book is, through all of this, I was absolutely clueless. And through all of this, I was scared to death. And through all of this, I was filled with all of these questions. And here are all of them. And perhaps this can apply to your life. Because maybe you have doubts and questions too. And yes, there's stuff about childhood and there's stuff about standing up to bullies and there's, etc., etc. But it's not a chronicle of career at all. My thought was, if you didn't care about who I was or know who I was, would this still be a good book? And would it feel like it's about you?
And you're happy with that?
I am... No. It is... Every time I read it, I want to change something. Nobody tells you that writing a book means rewriting it 7 times for legal read and then for proofread and the grammar has to be correct apparently. That's a thing now with literature. And you have to audio
quite
encode.
Like social media.
Yeah, and then you have to do festivals. So now I'm going to do literature festivals, which I think you can imagine is not my default setting as a comedian, is intellectual people sitting around kind of talking. Stuff like that terrifies me completely.
It's a whole new career.
It's not, but it's no one talks about how ridiculous it can be. I was at a quote-unquote intellectual event. that I was invited to attend. And many thinkers were there. And I saw this one very, very rich young startup founder go up and, it's one of those 3-day, 4-day things, etc. And they're talking about the world and power. And, in the panel, he was like, but does democracy really work? Can we talk about the fact that maybe democracy is just dying out and democracy is not a thing of the future? And I just kind of sat there in the audience and I was like, is no one going to talk about how ridiculous this is? Like, I want to be so rich and successful that I can spew shit like this, like, democracy chahiye ki nahi chahiye? And know that I'm so rich that I'll be okay either way.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was the only person in the room who saw the ghost.
Well, it is a comment on privilege for sure, right?
Yeah. Well, but what I found crazy was everybody else was also so privileged. They're like, hum bhi sochte hain, does democracy work? Do we need democracy, etc., etc.? So that's not my default setting at all, events like that. And now I have to do 6 of them. So we'll see.
6 of what?
Literature festivals, etc. With, I think...
Promotions.
But also, the thing is, comedians, we get a lot of credit for... we get a lot of undue credit for intelligence because of eloquence. And they're not the same thing. Like, if you put a comedian at a literature festival, immediately how dumb we are is laid bare, is
That's
exposed.
not true at all. I mean, authors can be the most facetious people in the world. Also incredibly dull. So
Dull, yes, but clearly more intelligent than the average comedian.
I mean, it's an image.
Sure. I think you and I can both think of at least 4 Indian authors who are not quite as intelligent as they're cracked up to be. But like, I'll watch. Sometimes I'll watch Javed Akhtar.
Yeah, of course.
At a panel or whatever, just dismantling, a spiritual guru or someone like that, etc., etc. And I just watch that and I'm like, I'm in awe because I'm like, that's a writer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And a great thinker.
But in no way should you ever label a comedian as a writer. That's a writer. That level of brain power, that's a writer.
What would you do if you're in a room full of journalists?
I have big respect for journalism. I worked in a news channel. My first job in Mumbai was at CNBC.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like to be surrounded by 500 people in a newsroom who have given up life and love. And, nobody gets into this profession for the cash. You get in this profession of journalism because there's some big fire deep inside you. And I was surrounded by that really early in my career. So I have massive respect for it.
Yeah.
And so my heart is broken today because I still respect that profession tremendously. So it's very easy to take a dump on journalism.
Yeah.
And some would say very deserved to take a dump on journalism in its current mainstream format. But I've been part of a mainstream newsroom. I've seen passionate journalists on the day the Mumbai train blast happened, or on the day that the stock market crashed. I worked at CNBC when I was 26 years old. I was on the 9 p.m. bulletin after Uday and Senthil and Shirin Ban and I would do 2.5 minutes of jokes about the Prime Minister of India every night. Imagine that. Just imagine that. Knowing that his full office was watching. And then I would do comedy about the 4 richest people in India and the Prime Minister of India on the mainstream news at 9 p.m. And everyone was okay. Sometimes we would get calls from this rich person's office saying, you haven't made fun of us enough. You're talking about the other guy too much. Take a few shots at us.
Yeah.
You're talking about the other brother too much.
I know these kind of calls.
Like, younger audiences, I'm like, man, you missed a bus of humor that was just, everybody was cool. The Prime Minister, he had 6 PhDs. You know what I mean? Like, what were you going to say that was even remotely in the realm of touching that kind of intelligence. But everybody was okay. And the jokes were terrible. They were stupid. They were immature. But everybody was just like, it's comedy.
Where do you get your news from today? Is it still news television?
Yeah, a lot of it is social media. So I'll do that. But some podcasts of media outlets as well. And
Newspapers?
I haven't been in town long enough to have a newspaper. So that's the only
Fair
thing.
enough. May I ask you, what is your relationship with fashion? I see you all dressed
Zero.
up and looking dapper. No, everywhere you go, I see you really among the most best dressed people. But the thing is that I remember you launching a fashion line as well.
Yeah, I did.
And showing at Fashion Week. Was it socks or shorts?
It was underwear and t-shirts. We called it Pretty Funny, and it was the highlight of my that year.
I was there at that show.
Yeah, so it was nice to see Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Just watching people in chaddis and shorts and shirts with funny stuff written on it.
Yeah.
And I think at my fashion show, it's a pretty killer lineup. I had Nazy and Divine. Right?
Yes.
Open the show. The people who walked for me were, I think, Ali Fazal, Richa, Tapsi, Roy Kapoor, Aditi Mittal, Ashwin Moshran, myself, Sophie Chaudhary, and then I think the editor of GQ walked the ramp for me. Shay walked the ramp for me. Yeah. And they all just wore banyan and chaddis and this thing. And of course the models of Lakme Fashion Week.
Yeah.
It was surreal to be there.
But I especially love that you're always encouraging new talent, especially on international runways. I mean, that can be risky as well.
Yeah, it goes horribly wrong sometimes. but I would assume no one's expecting high fashion from me, so I get to get away with it a little bit. And I've recently learned to pad it a little bit with a stylist. So I will always launch a new designer. Always. For about 3 reasons. Number one, I don't think mainstream designers would know what to do with me or have the time to know what to do with me. So I love the energy of a kid who's at NIFT and who's like, I'm going to do research and really put heart and soul into this piece.
And dressing a celebrity of your size is such a big deal.
And then I like paying people for their work.
So you buy it.
I buy it and then I give it back. So I don't keep the outfit.
You buy it, but then you return it.
Yeah.
So you rent it, so to speak.
But I pay them for their work. I pay them to tailor it. I pay them to style it. I pay them to conceptualize it. And then I pay them for the outfit. And I mean, I think we both know the exposure racket that young professionals get. How many shows have I done for media houses or this and that? And they're like, tumko acha exposure milega. And you're like, great, but rent's due. I don't need exposure, I need rent. So I like that. And then I love the taking someone who's here and the mountain that you can put them on.
Yeah.
I like that distance.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, you are NIFT Kangra, third year student. You're not getting GQ, best dressed. You're not getting Grazia Cool List. You are getting the Emmy Awards. And to watch what that does to their heart and their face, I think that energy enters you and it brings you good luck.
That's amazing.
So I think that, it creates good karma. I do.
If you were to order one item of clothing that could be delivered to you in 60 minutes, what would you order of e-com?
A hat.
A hat?
A hat. It's the only thing I really buy myself. Like if you look at a photo of me anywhere in the last year, I'm wearing these shoes. So I wore these at the Film Festival of Melbourne. Every podcast I was on, I think I wore these at the Emmys, or maybe my other pair of sneakers. These pants across the board as well. Hats I buy. So I have, I think, 30 hats.
That's amazing.
I mean, if you wear a hat, I have a good face for a hat. I can pull it off. And if you wear a hat, it doesn't matter what you're wearing. So I like that.
Do you cook?
I do not cook. My wife does not cook. We have all the domesticity of a rock, the two of us.
Who runs your kitchen? How do you run your kitchen?
We don't. I'll be honest with you. We rent. We are two people who live like children, and we're kind of traveling vagabonds. But I would say we order in 8 meals a week, 9 meals a week. And then depending on what the nutrition regime is, avocado toast is easy to organize at home. But I have bhindi and dal every day for lunch. That's easy to...
Staple.
Yeah, but then protein comes from outside.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you watch yourself on TV when your show's out?
No.
Never, right?
No.
Why?
I'll only watch mistakes. So I did a show called Call Me Bae.
Yeah.
Right? Which again, fashion-wise,
Yeah.
a massive achievement of a show.
But it's fantastic.
It's great.
I
right?
loved it.
It's edible TV.
And it pretty much launched Ananya to where she's at now.
She's fantastic.
She's really a cool girl.
Professional, got great comedy timing, she's self-aware, she knows how to be a straight man in a scene, and she knows how to be a loud man in a scene.
Really?
She can do both.
She's incredibly bright. She reads all these Pulitzer-winning books and all.
She's great. I'm told I'm quite decent in it. I haven't seen it.
Are you serious?
No.
You have a great role.
I know. And Colin and I improvised that whole thing together, etc., etc. But I'll watch it and I'll be like, oh, I could have said this funny thing here, or I could have done that, or I could have done that differently. But I'm told it's quite fun.
It's great fun.
Yeah.
This is a bad question to ask in 2025, which clearly is your busiest year. What does Veerdas do when he's not working? What is your downtime like? I know you have a dog that brings you dead snakes.
Yeah.
And
I have two indie dogs that we've adopted in Goa, so they're a big part of it. And then I do 2-3 things. I watch documentaries. I'll watch a documentary over a feature any day of the week. So
what have you watched recently?
What did I just watch? I watched the Charlie Sheen documentary on Netflix.
Okay,
It's just a lovely journey through the debauchery of the 80s and 90s. It's very nice.
Fun.
I walk. That's how I think. So it's kind of work, but typically I'll walk between 2.5 to 3.5 hours a day. Once in the morning and once in the evening outside of a workout. So then it's just music and walking, music and walking, music and walking.
That's a lot of walking.
It's a lot of walking. And read. That's it. Yeah.
When do you hope your film will release?
I hope it'll release in 2026 and,
Do you have a date fixed or a month fixed?
Not yet. We're talking about it right now. We're almost there. It's the last 10 meters of the race to get it ready. I fell in love with directing.
Yeah.
I co-directed this one, and Kavi and I have a great creative partner. We met as background extras on Love Aajkal.
Really?
Yeah, so if you see Saif dancing in Can We Twist, right? I'm on this end of it, this end behind Saif, and Kavi's on this end behind Saif. So we're both the two young men behind Saif.
But did you have a role?
Not really.
What were you doing there?
It was like 2 scenes, and I really needed the money, and I was just flat broke. And Imtiaz Ali was very nice. He called me up before Love Aajkal, and he was like, "Are you doing this role? Because this is a nothing role. I want to warn you." And I was like, "Sir, I really need the money." And so I might be the most expensive background extra in the history of background extras. I got put up at the Berjaya Eden Park Hotel in London for the duration of Love Aajkal. And I got paid like 6.5 lakhs for that movie as a background extra, effectively. But thank you, Imtiaz. And like it carried me over a financial period. So Kavi and I met out of focus in the background behind Saif. So there's bokeh. We are just both bokeh in the back of Saif.
That's such an incredible celebrity story. One day you're a background dancer.
Yeah.
Another day you're winning an Emmy and making a film with Aamir Khan.
Yeah.
This essentially is Bir Das for all of us.
Well, I mean, the background extra might come soon also, and then the Emmy will be on sale on OLX. Sometimes I think about selling it. I don't even know how much you could fetch for an Emmy. I'm not sure.
Well, thank you for taking the time out.
I appreciate you.
And really, truly, your busiest year. It makes me feel very special, and I'm really very grateful.
I'm very grateful to you because I know when someone like you comes to my trial show and you laugh, I know the joke is good. So I appreciate your opinion.
Well, thank you.
This was fun.
Kuche 7 presents the Namrata Zakaria Show in partnership with ZILO, fashion delivery in 60 minutes, powered by View Televisions. If you like what we do, please press the bell icon below and subscribe to our channel. It will really help my team and me to do better and work harder and bring to you even better conversation.